Hello and welcome to the Slovak Snapshots podcast, created by Aktuality.sk. My name is Zorislav Poliak and I'm bringing you the most captivating and important stories from across Slovakia. Each week we'll dive into the headlines that matter, from breaking news to heartwarming stories. So, whether you're local or a global listener interested in Slovakia, we got you covered. It is March 9th and you're listening to the Slovak Snapshots podcast. Petr Fiala intervened against the government of Robert Fico.
Že se v tuto chvíli neuskuteční taková specifická forma vzájemných vztahů mezi Českou a Slovenskou republikou, to jsou mezivládní konzultace, tedy společné jednání.
Tensions between the Czech Republic and Slovakia have escalated due to the politically opposing views on the war in Ukraine. The key figures in this situation are Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico and Czech Prime Minister Petr Fiala, who have different views on many issues, including foreign policy, energy and security. Robert Fico, known for his pro-Russian opinions and criticism of EU sanctions against Russia, have recently adopted a policy of isolationism. His statements often cause controversy not only at home, but also abroad. On the other hand, Petr Fiala, who holds pro-European and pro-NATO positions, is trying to strengthen relations with European and transatlantic partners, which sometimes leads to disagreements with Fico's views. The tension between Fiala and Fico was already evident last week at the V4 summit, when the Czech Prime Minister strongly objected to Fico's statements about war. This week, Czech Prime Minister Petr Fiala announced that his cabinet had postponed the Czechoslovak intergovernmental consultations. They were due to take place at the end of April and the beginning of May. This week's meeting between Slovak Foreign Minister Juraj Blanár and Russian diplomatic chief Sergei Lavrov was the last nail in the coffin for the government of the Czech Republic. The meeting drew strong disapproval in Slovakia as well, with many people calling the minister a collaborator and a traitor to Slovak interests. Prime Minister Robert Fico reacted to the move by Fiala's government. Among other things, he said on social media that his government would never put the deep Slovak-Czech relations in any danger. In his own words, the decision from the Czech Republic will not affect sovereign Slovak foreign policy. We note that the Czech government has decided to jeopardize the Czechoslovak relations only because it is interested in supporting the war in Ukraine, while the Slovak government is openly talking about peace, Fico said. The joint consultations between the governments reflect the above standard level of relations between the cabinets. If the Czech side does not organize them now, it will preserve the normal cooperation between the ministries and return relations to the standard level. Michal Žantovský, former Czech ambassador to the US, commented on the situation. He says many people, including politicians, do not understand the diplomatic language today. He considers the reaction of the government of Petr Fiala to be appropriate. We shouldn't accept the easily confrontational reaction of Prime Minister Robert Fico, who says that our relations are deeply disturbed by this. They are not. They have only returned it to the standard level. Žantovský added. Prime Minister Fiala told CNN Prima News in the evening after Fico's words that Slovakia is still a brotherly and sisterly country for the Czech Republic. We are historically intertwined. We are close to each other, but the truth is that the current Slovak government has diametrically different position on a key issue. We think that this position is not in line with the view of the Western world and that it is somewhat playing into Vladimir Putin's interests, Fiala said in the broadcast. The TV channel recalled that the Slovak Prime Minister, on the second anniversary of the outbreak of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, said that the war started in 2014 2014 with the rampage of Ukrainian neo-Nazis. He also claimed that during the conflict, Slavs are being killed and the West is looking the other way. Prague's cancellation of the Czech-Slovak consultations came just days after Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk's critical words about Slovakia. Blanar's meeting with Lavrov was confirmation, according to the Polish head of government, that our paths have diverged quite a bit on some issues. Fortunately, there is no reason to believe that there are any differences in Polish-Lithuanian relations in the northeastern region, Tusk added. Login in the national park. The administration of the Tatra National Park, TANAP, started random logging of standing dry spruces in the nature reserve Kłoprowa Valley and near Tatranska Javorina. Kłoprowa Valley is a part of protected bird area and the trees provide nesting opportunities for birds. Rare species of European importance, such as woodpeckers, eagles, and various owls, live there. The We Are Forest initiative has documented further logging near the settlement of Podspady. Most of the timber comes from the state land in the third level of protection. However, in one case, the timber is said to have come directly from a stand belonging to the Pavlova Reserve, where the fifth level of protection applies. The We Are Forest initiative argues that the logging was not necessary and may have harmed the forest ecosystem. The law on the nature and landscape protection allows national parks to carry out calamitous logging in a protected bird area only if they have permission from the district environmental authority. According to TANAP, they didn't violate any law, and the logging had the necessary permits. We Are Forest has doubts and has contacted the Slovak Environmental Inspectorate with its suspicions. The initiative claims that in the Kłoprowa Valley, mostly standing dry spruces were picked, from which the lycophytes had already emerged and therefore did not pose any risk. The initiative highlights the importance of standing dry trees for bird nesting. The Nature and Landscape Conservation Act prohibits activities in protected bird area that may harm the birds' habitats. Such activities include removing or damaging nesting trees of some species. The We Are Forest initiative therefore says that the logging may have not been lawful. The Tatra National Park rejects the initiative's accusations of breaking the law in connection with logging in the Kłoprowa Valley. The national park claims that it acted by the legislation in force when dealing with the consequences of the wind and bark beetle calamity. According to the speaker of the national park, the logging near Tatranska Javorina was supposed to be an identical case. The TANAP administration plans to continue processing random logging in forest stands where they have permissions. The administration did not specify where the timber from the logging will end up. The Ministry of the Environment doesn't see a problem with any logging, and everything has been done according to the legislation in force. The treatment of the calamities, whether of lycophytes or wind, will be done professionally and by the legislation in force to protect the national parks from dying out. It is this permission that is used as an argument by the State Secretary of the Ministry of the Environment, Stefan Kufa, who told television Markíza and RTVS in the case of logging in the Kłoprowa Valley, the national park certainly had permission. With one tree, one rusk and so much talk. There is nothing to talk about. That's normal logic. Ask people in the countryside who have no education how they feel about the dry tree that a farmer has in his forest. Are we as a state supposed to be a worse farmer? Stefan Kufa adds on logging. Environmentalist Ondrej Kamenjar points out that this is not an economic forest, but an area with a third, fourth and a fifth level of nature protection, the restoration of which will take years. Slovak NHL star stays on the bench. Travis Green replaced Lindy Ruff as a head coach of the New Jersey Devils and put Šimon Němec in the stands in the first game. The coach explained the decision to reporters before his first game and was asked about it again the next day after practice, a topic Němec devoted 3 minutes out of the 9 in post-practice interview. In the previous interview, Green said he had spoke to Šimon Němec personally and told him he would not be in the lineup, which was appreciated by the player himself. This time he talked a little more about their discussion together. I haven't spoken to him today, but we had a great conversation yesterday. Our debate was honest and open, and we exchanged views. I believe that's the way it should be. I started by telling him what a good player I think he is and will be. That I was surprised at how well he played when he was called up to the first team and what he could do. On the other hand, I told him that in the last 3 weeks his performance had dropped, and we talked about why. There is a learning curve for players in the NHL. You also must learn how to play 82 games. Making a reboot is not a bad thing. That's what he and I are working on right now. I haven't told him when he'll be back in the lineup. It may or may not be in the next game. I haven't decided yet.
Large portions in their zone. They're getting in the middle of the ice and blocking shots.
And it's Ritz, he scores! Have a day, Shimon, a goal and an assist. Tie game.
Never boring Slovakia.
Did you know that Slovakia is a country of festivals? Every summer, thousands of Slovaks and tourists meet at dozens of music festivals. The most famous being the Pohoda, Grape, Hip Hop Lives or Atmosphere festivals. The Východná Folklore Festival is the oldest and largest nationwide festival with international participation, showcasing Slovak folk traditions. And there you have it, another the Slovak Snapshots podcast in the books. We hope you enjoyed this weekly adventure through the newscape of Slovakia. Remember, knowledge is power, so go ahead and impress your friends at the next gathering with your newfound facts. But hey, don't take yourself too seriously. Life's too short not to enjoy a good laugh. We'll be back next week with more stories that will keep you informed and entertained. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and keep sharing those lovely smiles.